Deep within Whisper Wood, nestled amongst towering pines, stood a solitary cabin. Its wooden walls, weathered and worn, creaked ominously with each gust of wind. The windows, dark and vacant, seemed to watch the path below. An unnatural silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the rustling of leaves. The path leading to the cabin was treacherous and overgrown, swallowed by the encroaching forest. This was the domain of Yiggy Etta, a name whispered in hushed tones by the villagers who lived in the valley below. As twilight painted the sky in hues of purple and blood orange, a palpable sense of unease settled upon the village of Oakhaven. Parents called their children indoors, their voices tight with worry, for they knew that as darkness fell, so too did the reign of Yiggy Etta begin. Yiggy Etta favored the witching hour, that time when the veil between worlds thinned and shadows stretched long and hungry. The legend of Yiggy Etta had haunted the village of Oakhaven for generations. Some dismissed it as mere superstition, a tale conjured up to frighten disobedient children. But deep down, everyone harbored a sliver of fear, a gnawing unease that lingered at the back of their minds. They whispered of a woman scorned, a woman driven to madness by grief and despair. Fear hung over Oakhaven like a shroud, suffocating the once peaceful village. The laughter of children had been replaced by a heavy silence. The streets were now deserted after sunset, the villagers too afraid to venture out after dark. Parents barricaded their doors and windows, reinforcing their homes against an unseen enemy. Desperate for a solution, Silas consulted ancient tomes, searching for a way to break the curse that plagued their village. But his efforts proved futile. Yiggy Etta's reign of terror continued, her grip on Oakhaven tightening with each passing night. One by one, children began to disappear from Oakhaven. They vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the darkness that clung to the edges of the woods. Little Timmy Higgins was the first to vanish. He had been playing hide and seek with his friends in the forest at the edge of the village when he disappeared. Then it was young Sarah Miller, a quiet girl with a shy smile and a love for drawing. Each disappearance followed the same chilling pattern. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, just an eerie silence. As fear and despair threatened to consume Oakhaven, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected source. A young woman named Alara. Alara refused to believe that Yiggy Etta was invincible. She spent countless hours in the village library, poring over dusty tomes, searching for any mention of Yiggy Etta or a way to break her curse. Finally, after weeks of tireless research, Alara stumbled upon a passage in an ancient text. The heart of a witch is bound to her humanity. Find the source of her pain, and you will find the key to her undoing. As twilight descended, casting long, eerie shadows across the forest floor, Alara took a deep breath and stepped onto the path leading to Yiggy Etta's cabin. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The forest seemed to press in on her, the trees twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes. Alara pushed forward, her heart pounding in her chest, her eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. She clutched the silver locket in her hand, a gift from her grandmother, said to ward off evil. She had come too far to turn back now. The cabin loomed before her, a grotesque silhouette against the dying light of the setting sun. Smoke curled from its chimney, a sinister plume that seemed to writhe and twist in the air. Taking a deep breath, Alara approached cautiously, her hand hovering over the silver locket at her throat. As she reached the front door, it creaked open, as if inviting her inside. Alara stepped across the threshold, her eyes struggling to adjust to the dimness within. And then she saw her. Yiggy Etta sat, hunched over a table in the center of the room, her back to Alara. Alara's heart pounded in her chest as she took a step closer, her hand gripping the silver locket for reassurance. The locket had been a gift from her mother, a symbol of strength and courage that she now clung to in this moment of fear and uncertainty. Yiggy Etta, she called out, her voice trembling slightly. The name echoed through the dark, empty room, bouncing off the walls and returning to her ears like a haunting whisper. The figure at the table slowly turned, and Alara gasped. The air grew colder, and a shiver ran down her spine as she took in the sight before her. Yiggy Etta's face, once said to be beautiful, was now a mask of sorrow and madness. The lines of grief and torment etched deeply into her features told a story of unimaginable pain. Her eyes, once filled with warmth and light, were now cold and empty. They seemed to pierce through Alara, as if searching for something long lost. So the little hero has come to slay the monster, Yiggy Etta croaked. Her voice was hoarse, filled with a bitterness that resonated in the dark room. You come seeking to end my reign of terror, but you know nothing of terror, child. Her words dripped with venom, each one a dagger aim at Alara's resolve. I know that you're hurting, Alara said, her voice surprisingly steady. She took a deep breath, drawing strength from the locket in her hand. I know that you've lost someone you loved. The pain in your eyes is something I recognize, something I have felt myself. But taking innocent children won't bring them back. It won't fill the void in your heart or ease the torment in your soul. Yiggy Etta laughed, a hollow, chilling sound. It echoed through the room, a sound devoid of joy or mirth, only filled with a deep, unsettling emptiness. You think you understand? You think you know the depths of my pain? She gestured to a dark corner of the room, her eyes blazing with a fierce intensity. Look, see what became of my child. Alara hesitated, then slowly turned towards the corner. Her heart raced as she braced herself for the sight that awaited her. There, huddled in the shadows, was a small, frail figure. It was barely recognizable as human, a twisted remnant of what once was, but it wasn't a child. It was a grotesque, twisted creature, its eyes glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. The sight was both horrifying and heartbreaking. This is what happens when mortals meddle in things they don't understand, Yiggy Etta hissed. Her voice was filled with a dark, ominous warning. This is the price of power. The price of love. Her words hung in the air, a grim reminder of the consequences of her actions. Alara's heart ached with pity for the creature in the corner, for Yiggy Etta's shattered soul. She could see the pain and regret etched into every line of her face, but she knew that she couldn't let her continue down this path. The cycle of pain and vengeance had to end. "It's not too late," Alara said, her voice soft but firm. "There is still a chance for redemption, for healing. Let go of the pain, Yiggy Etta. Let go of the hate. It's the only way to find peace." Her words were a plea, a desperate hope for a better future.